We've reached the second to last episode of the first season of The Bad Batch, part 1 of a 2-part finale, and if part 2 is nothing but the crew sitting around eating Mantel mix together, I'll still think it all ended fantastically. I loved this episode. We predicted a decent amount of stuff in it, but still it found ways to surprise and thrill us. Right out of the gate, the episode tells us that we're returning to Kamino, which I was so psyched about. I thought it made perfect sense to go back to where not only the series began, but the clones in general, and the Kiners definitely reminded us of that by using music from Attack of the Clones to put us back in that mindset. The music in general continued to impress as it has all season, but the past 2 episodes especially have used existing Star Wars motifs to great effect. Crosshair brings Hunter back to their old home and activates his comm so the rest of the batch know exactly where he is, knowing full well they will come rescue him. A courtesy none of them bothered to show Crosshair. It doesn't take long at all before the rest of Clone Force 99 is on their way, and I just want to point out how fast-paced this episode was. Something I was wrong about was thinking there would be an episode about putting a team or plan together. Star Wars Rebels did it when Kanan was captured, The Mandalorian did it when Grogu was captured. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I love The Believer, but it's refreshing to see Star Wars break out of some of its patterns. Not to mention, this show is about The Bad Batch. Yes, in a larger sense, it's about all the clones too, but the emotional heart of this story is all about the Batch, and keeping that focus really pays off. And we learn just a little bit more about their origins, including Omega. They were all born in Nala Se's secret lab that even many Kaminoans didn't know about. That's cool, but I think the scene is more about furthering Omega's connection to the Batch. If I'm interpreting what she said correctly, she was there when all of her brothers were born, and then she had to watch as the only clones that were kinda like her were all taken away while she was left behind. We also see her unease at being back on Kamino. Part of the reason I wanted to go back to the planet was because she said she never wanted to go back, and Hunter promised that she wouldn't. I love that that's addressed, but Omega never even questions it. She doesn't want to be there, but saving Hunter is more important than her comfort. Wrecker, Tech, and Echo spring Crosshair's trap exactly as he predicted they would, and the whole sequence in the training room was the best scene of the episode, maybe one of the best scenes of the season, but it works so well because of everything that came before. Even foreshadowing in this episode really had me invested, with the elite troopers questioning Crosshair and then all of his jabs at Hunter about how they left him behind. All he wants is to be back with his brothers. All he wants is to be accepted. And yeah, he stayed with the Empire because they accepted him, and he doesn't want to give that up. But he still wants his family. This is the join me moment from The Empire Strikes Back, or even more so The Last Jedi. What Crosshair wants is understandable and relatable, but he's going about it in the wrong way. He's not quite there. And then Omega interrupts the conversation with all the training droids, and they all team up to fight back, and yes, that is one of my favorite tropes in anything. Good guys and bad guys working together. Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, Omega, and Crosshair all on the same side, and the score kicks in bigger and better than ever. It's like in Fellowship of the Ring. You hear the Fellowship theme a few times softly as the group comes together, but it's not until they leave Rivendell that you really hear it in all its glory. Man, that got a cheer out of me. The entire team fighting together as a squad back in the room where they last worked together. The last time they actually felt like a family to Crosshair. When all the droids are down, we get that reveal that his chip had been removed some time ago and that he has been willingly working with the Empire. We don't know when, but I'm guessing it was shortly after he was injured on Braca. Hunter stuns him and they all decide to take him with them, and I love that development because he wasn't wrong about Hunter and the others. They did leave him behind. I agree that they had no choice in that first episode, but neither did he, and Omega knew as much. Then they all got to witness the chips activating firsthand with Wrecker. They knew Crosshair wasn't in control, and they didn't try to go get him. From his perspective, he was abandoned. He probably started to wonder if they ever cared about him. He was the easy one to leave behind because he was always kind of the jerk of the group. I don't blame him for asking the question, why didn't the batch go back for him? They ran around the galaxy helping strangers. Heck, Hunter was captured rescuing a clone he had never met. How must that have felt for Crosshair? They have done such a good job with him as an antagonist because I totally get what he wants, he's just going about it in the wrong way. If you can't tell, I'm still on Team Crosshair Redemption. I'll have to go back and look at what he did after Braca. I might rethink some things, but as this episode was ending, I desperately wanted to see him saved. I want to see him come back around and atone. I do not want to see him die in some noble sacrifice next week. I'm getting flashbacks to the Rise of Skywalker and what I wanted for Kylo Ren. Star Wars is all about redemption, and that's great, but I would love to see what happens after that. Crosshair can come back and try to right his wrongs. He just needs that chance he wasn't given before. Which brings me to probably my greatest fear for the finale. I am terrified Hunter is going to be the one to sacrifice himself to save Crosshair. The first season has been pretty Hunter-centric, and like I said before, the emotional core of the finale was between him and Crosshair. I could easily see them winding up in some situation where it's either going to be him or Crosshair that survives, and I think Hunter would choose Crosshair. After their talk, I think Hunter would want to give him that chance to be better. It's an absolute gut punch, and I'm not hoping for that to happen, but it would set up Season 2 for some very interesting storylines. How does the whole group move forward without their leader? How do they all reconcile with Crosshair being around? They would all have to step up and shift their roles around and grow, and let's be honest, character development for Echo, Tech, Wrecker, and Crosshair has been pretty lacking in the first season. Season 2 could be their time to shine. Again, I don't want that to happen. I want them all to make it out. We can still do all those things in Season 2 with Hunter around, but Kamino is burning and things are looking grim. When the episode ended, I just shouted, "Cruelty!" I so wish they had just given us a 2-part finale today. But also deep down, I love that we're all going to squirm for one more week. What a way to say goodbye to Kamino. That was another reason I said I hoped we would get to see the planet one more time. I don't think there's a better way to send off the era of the Clone Wars than by having the Empire destroy their home. I guessed that seeing the empty halls and cafeteria and cloning facilities would be chilling, and it was. It was sad seeing the bombardment. Tarkin's classic, "You may fire when ready," also gave me chills. We've been talking about how this would all go down since the start of May in the very first episode. I was guessing and hoping for a Kaminoan or clone uprising or both. We still might get some sort of clone uprising, and Nala Se is still out there. I doubt her story is finished. But destroying the clone facilities just reeks of Imperial hubris, and I love it. We definitely have the benefit of dramatic irony, knowing that Imperial cloning isn't quite up to snuff by the time of The Mandalorian or the sequel trilogy. They could have worked with the Kaminoans, but no. Stupid Empire. But I think that's all I've got to say about Return to Kamino. The only thing I didn't like about it was that it was too short. It left me desperate to see next week, which means the storytellers did their jobs well. I've seen people saying the early Season 2 announcement took all the tension away, but not for me. I am still plenty nervous that something terrible is going to happen. I'm hoping for the best, but I am prepared to have my heart broken. So, what did you think about this episode, and what do you hope or fear will happen next week? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page where we release audio commentaries and video reactions for these new episodes. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.